What a game. The Indiana Fever snap the New York Liberty's undefeated streak.
The word undeniable exists for a reason, and it applies to Caitlin Clark. She is just absolutely undeniable, and her return to the Indiana Fever showed it once again. It felt like a jolt of energy to the WNBA, obviously to the Indiana Fever.
After Caitlin Clark, who had just recovered from injury, destroyed the reigning champion Liberty with 32 points, the WNBA made the most disastrous error in sports history. Someone in a suit claimed that she required a drug test 11 times this season. On the internet, the response was described as quick, critical, and humorous. There is now opposition to the league. They were unprepared for it. Do you believe the WNBA is genuinely attempting to undercut its biggest star? Or is this incompetence just a coincidence?
I'm going to say it. Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now. It's really hard not to recognize the difference that she makes on the Indiana Fever, a team that was obviously struggling with playmaking, struggling with pacing, struggling with the things that make us want to watch. And she steps into that court, and in the first quarter, she made...
Let's start with the facts, which are so absurd they almost appear made up. After missing 5 games due to injury, Caitlin Clark returns, scores 32 points against the reigning champions, and leads her team to a decisive victory that ends New York's winning streak. According to sources, she will be rewarded for her outstanding performance with the 11th required drug test of the season. To put things in perspective, the majority of WNBA players undergo testing once in the off-season and 3 times during the regular season.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark to fire away from 2 players with incredible
Looking at Clark's stat sheet in the WNBA office, it looks like he scored 32 points despite missing 5 games. It is obvious that skill, preparation, and basketball abilities cannot account for her success, so she must be abusing drugs. It must include performance-enhancing medications. Reactions on social media were swift and harsh. She tested positive for goat blood, which honestly might be the most accurate drug test result in sports history. A commentator said, while they're at it, they should test Scott Foster for drugs, which is probably the most sensible recommendation anyone has made regarding WNBA officiating throughout the season. But my best answer was that, in order to determine whether she is truly human, a DNA test should have been performed. Let's face it, Clark's actions against the Liberty seemed incredible. The game began with 3 3-pointers in 38 seconds. That is not how people typically behave. Video games are the source of it. For the league, the timing is extremely odd and embarrassing. Clark's quad injury will keep him out of 5 games. When she returns against the league's top team, she immediately demonstrates to everyone why she is the face of professional basketball. In addition to being positive, her return was historic. With 17 3-pointers, the Fever set a franchise record. The whole basketball community recalled why they had come to see Clark play, and it appeared as though she had never left. The Titanic appears to have made a small navigational error due to poor optics, to which the league replied, "Let's make sure she's not cheating." The athlete who independently raised viewership and popularity for women's basketball is your biggest star, and after her best performance in weeks, you treat her like a possible criminal. Despite the WNBA's purportedly random drug testing process, 11 tests for a single player in a single season begins to seem less random and more like harassment. The necessary 3 tests are administered to other players. If they're unfortunate, they may be tested 4 times. After his outstanding accomplishments, Clark is reportedly receiving the premium package, which includes a post-game specimen collection.
Keep it down! Go! Good job.
No, we can.
Whew, good job. Squad needed it. Played Fever way. I love it. More of them.
Let's discuss what actually transpired during the Liberty game. Given how excellent the performance was, apparently, it set off a drug test. Breanna Stewart gave Clark 5 feet of space and continued to watch the ball cross the goal as Clark made 3 logo threes in the first quarter. Chemical enhancement is not what that is. It's just skill. In addition to his ability to score goals, Clark's exceptional performance also included the confidence that sets superstars apart from ordinary players. She produced open looks for teammates, coordinated the entire attack, and made the reigning champs appear unimpressive on their own floor. It is evident from watching the film that this was not the result of a fast, hot run or good fortune. This great basketball lecture was given by someone who learned how to destroy the best team in the league while sitting on the bench for 5 games. However, someone in the WNBA administration determined that this comeback performance should be investigated rather than celebrated. For crying out loud, their most well-known superstar may not be a very skilled basketball player. She makes the game seem so simple that something other than basketball IQ, skill, and work ethic must be involved. Comments from fans demonstrate how tone-deaf this choice is. The ridiculousness was summed up in one comment. The WNBA is surprised to have a quality player at last. That opinion aligns with the widespread perception that the league is ill-equipped to deal with genuine superstar talent when it does arise. According to another user, it is both humorous and statistically correct because, according to previous data, Clark receives more drug tests than Angel rescores points per game. The league's treatment of Clark is bordering on insanity, as evidenced by the many harsh comparisons. The jokes about magic numbers are self-written. Drug use must be the cause of 12 assists in a game. Regularly touching the images and the logo, unquestionably suspicious. Impressing her co-workers just by having fun on the floor. There will be another test soon. Because of the league, brilliance now always raises a question.
Congrats on your great performance.
Thanks.
Just want to let you know you have a huge fan base in Hong Kong.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And
hopefully I'll get there one day.
And today, there are 5 Hong Kong fans fly from Hong Kong to
No way.
Indiana.
Oh my gosh.
And the hour is 22 hours.
No way. Oh my goodness. Well, I wish I could have
just
met
want to say
them.
this, including me.
If you know them, tell them thank you for coming. That's
So-
incredible.
Yeah, so any plans you will visit Hong Kong with your teams in the future years?
Yeah, maybe we'll head to Hong Kong after the season. I mean, I certainly hope to go to Hong Kong one day. It's incredible to see the type of reach that we can have and how much people love basketball across the globe. So that's really cool. So if you know them, tell them I say hello and thanks for coming as well.
Yeah, thank you. Hope one day to show you around.
Yeah, absolutely.
This makes it much more absurd. Since Clark's dominance is not new, there is no reason to doubt it. Since her time in college, she has been doing this. The no-look passes, the long threes, and the apparent superhuman court vision. As a player, this is simply who she is. This kind of performance is typical for her when she is in good health, as anyone who has followed her career would attest. The league either doesn't understand its own star, or doesn't want to think she's really this terrific, as seen by the drug test conducted following this specific game. In each of these arguments, the WNBA's leadership and capacity to identify and assist outstanding players are underrepresented. The events that took place against the Liberty were not out of the ordinary. After being sidelined, Clark was performing at her typical level. She reminded everyone that the Fever with Clark are an entirely different team from the Fever without her due to her injuries. They can now compete with the reigning champions as the offense improves and teammates receive better looks. Social media accusations that the WNBA is deliberately attempting to disparage their own product hit an all-time high. You fundamentally misjudge how to start and promote a professional sports league when your best player puts on a performance that the entire league should applaud and your answer is to mandate drug testing. It is inevitable to draw comparisons to other sports. The NBA doesn't test Steph Curry for drugs when he makes 9 3-pointers in a game. They promote the highlights. The NFL acknowledges a player's performance when they pass for 400 yards. Chemical analysis seems to be the only prerequisite for WNBA greatness. At the core of the WNBA's ongoing identity dilemma, one especially harsh critique asserted that Clark has faced more challenges than the league has provided her with opportunity for growth. Their product receives unparalleled exposure because to a generational talent, but instead of celebration, they face distrust. This disclosure is made worse by its timeliness. Appointment television was Clark's comeback game. People were particularly curious to see how she would recover from her accident. We learned that she was drug tested following performance, which surpassed expectations, produce viral moments, and receive the kind of favorable attention the WNBA sorely needs. Despite appearing to be random, the league's drug testing policy seems more focused. When a player is frequently chosen for testing, particularly following exceptional performances, it begins to resemble planned harassment of their greatest player rather than random selection. Ironically, the WNBA ought to be the organization that celebrates Clark's accomplishment the most. This player brings women's basketball to the level of popular sports, attracts large audiences, boosts viewership, and generates revenue. Her games seem to be the primary emphasis of their drug test program, rather than their marketing strategy. Comments from fans on this circumstance demonstrate how detrimental this strategy is to the league's standing. You lose control of the story when your greatest star is made fun of by your audience. It's obvious that your priorities are out of alignment when jokes about drug testing garner more attention than game highlights. Social media users soon called attention to the ridiculousness. Jokes about basketball skill tests and requests that the league examine other players to determine why they aren't as talented as Clark were among the comments. This choice has been ridiculed with unrelenting inventiveness. This is far more challenging given the larger context. In order to enhance working conditions and raise player compensation, the WNBA is presently engaged in collective bargaining talks. It doesn't exactly reflect well on the league's treatment of players when there are rumors that your best players are being subjected to rigorous drug testing. The league's decision-making process is further called into question by the timing of these tests. After accomplishing remarkable feats, Clark is put to the test, suggesting that success breeds distrust. You want to convey the exact opposite message to players who are now active in the game or who have the potential to become stars in the future. Social media responses have been funny, with jokes ranging from testing for pure basketball talent to suggesting that Clark should demand to see other players' test results for comparison. Users have transformed this into a hilarious goldmine. The brilliance of making fun of this choice demonstrates how blatantly flawed it seems to outsiders. A commenter's observation that Clark being tested for drugs more frequently than other players receive meaningful playing time summed up the issue. That comment draws attention to both the overly demanding nature of her exams and the general mediocrity that characterizes a large portion of the league's talent pool. The way the league handled this incident reveals a basic misconception about how to deal with well-known athletes. You support a player who has the ability to significantly alter the course of your sport. You don't put them through continuous testing that suggests their achievements aren't legitimate. The league's attempts to establish credibility on competitive balance are further undermined by the drug test news. What does it say about the general level of competition if your top player is continually put to the test because their performance seems too good to be natural? It implies that either someone is dishonest or that everyone else is far worse than they ought to be. The majority of fans have expressed disapproval of the league's strategy, with many pointing out that Clark's treatment is a mirror of more significant problems with WNBA decision-making and leadership. When everyone in your audience is making fun of a lead decision, you should definitely reevaluate your strategy. The WNBA's perceived lack of professionalism in comparison to other professional sports leagues is the worst part of the problem. Big sports organizations know that they benefit financially and publicly from superstar performances. Instead of studying brilliance, they enjoy it. The WNBA strategy implies that they either don't comprehend this fundamental idea or choose to disregard it on purpose. It's evident from the comments and responses that supporters believe this is a hint of bigger issues with the league's operations. The WNBA's incapacity to effectively manage and sell its most valuable assets is reflected in the drug testing. The league has a major PR issue when even casual onlookers can see how ridiculous the situation is. We'll see. Analyze this testing frequency's statistical absurdity. Clark is being tested more than 4 times more frequently than other players, with 11 drug tests in a single season as opposed to the league minimum of 3 tests. The sample is not selected at random. That is a targeted investigation masquerading as an ordinary one. It would be an insult to fundamental intelligence to refer to the statistical likelihood of one person being chosen at random 11 times, while others are tested 3 times as a coincidence. Paying onlookers watch the exact performance that set off this most recent test. Since her injury, Clark didn't seem to have missed any practice. She had flawless shooting form. She made perfect decisions and had surgical court vision. This is the appearance of elite professional basketball. And the league questioned its legitimacy in response. The history of Clark's injury comeback makes this much worse. A quad ailment kept her out of 5 games. Strain collaborated with trainers and medical personnel to guarantee her safe return. It is disrespectful to her work ethic and the medical staff who oversaw her rehabilitation to suggest that she took illegal medications in any way to improve her recuperation or performance. From early suspicion to outright contempt for league administration, the reaction on social media has changed with time. The drugs that Clark may be abusing are the subject of intricate jokes. The term performance-enhancing basketball talent gained popularity. It has been revealed that she has been taking illicit amounts of court vision enhancers. The cleverness with which this judgment was ridiculed suggests that it is generally foolish to anyone with working brain cells. It becomes normal and hurtful to compare yourself to other players. While other players struggle to complete simple shots without any chemical analysis at all, Clark is tested 11 times for excessive talent. It implies that while mediocrity is typical, success is dubious. A professional sports league should send the exact opposite message. The humiliation is made worse by the worldwide viewpoint. Clark illustrated the global reach of her appeal by highlighting fans who travel from Hong Kong to see her play. Fans from other countries can now discover that because their favorite athlete is too gifted, the league checks them for drugs. The greatest way to characterize a professional sports organization is to treat greatness with distrust. The worst possible optics are created by the timing of this revelation, which comes after a strong comeback performance. We read stories concerning drug testing procedures and possible harassment rather than headlines applauding Clark's comeback. The league was able to create a public relations disaster out of their most promising story of the week. This creates a risky precedent for the league's future. What message does it give to young athletes who want to compete at the highest levels if outstanding achievement always results in more drug testing? Work hard, develop your abilities, and win games. But if you do too well, you could be accused of cheating. Clark's basketball skills are not the only thing that fans are interested in. Her influence on the sport has led to people purchasing jerseys, going to games, and developing a passion for the WNBA. It feels like a betrayal of her financial and emotional commitment when the league treats her like a suspected criminal for doing the very kind of performance that made her famous. Seeing how the coaching staff views this circumstance must be fascinating. Can you imagine managing a team where each time your star player puts on outstanding performance, she is tested for drugs? The psychological effects of such ongoing scrutiny may have an effect on team chemistry and performance. This strategy backfires against league interests in yet another way. There are serious business consequences. When Clark is there is an increase in ticket sales, store revenue, and television ratings. You are effectively peering into your own success when stringent drug testing targets your main source of income. The league is paying consultants millions of dollars to figure out how to increase their viewership. Yet the player who independently addressed the issue is being harassed. The league's strategy has come under heavy fire for how the media has portrayed this circumstance. The rationale and fairness of testing Clark so frequently have been publicly questioned by sports journalists, who typically refrain from taking sides. You've lost the public when even objective observers are condemning your choices. Relationships are often challenging. If the league can put Clark through rigorous testing because he is too talented, the Player Association should be incensed about this maltreatment of its most famous member. What can be done to prevent them from attacking other gamers for whatever reason they may think of? The rights and dignity of players around the league are put at risk by this precedent. This is made worse by the historical setting. There has never been much respect or recognition for women's sports. When the WNBA eventually signs a player who gives their product respectability and visibility, they start to doubt the authenticity of that achievement. It is the pinnacle of self-destruction. A closer look disproves the competitive balance notion. Other teams would be calling for inquiries if Clark's domination was a hoax. Rather, rival players and coaches recognize her talent, but bemoan how difficult it is to stop it. It's not suspicious. That is a remarkable ability that is acknowledged in a work environment. The fan base's unification around Clark in reaction to this treatment has led to a us versus them mentality among fans and league administration. Your administrative actions are being actively protested by your fan base, which is a serious misunderstanding of your function as a sports entertainment company. The plot surrounding drug testing has totally eclipsed real basketball conversations, which is a total failure of league objectives. We are discussing specimen collection techniques rather than Clark's performance, her growth as a second-year professional, or the team's increased unity. The league has succeeded in making its best player a victim rather than honoring him. The WNBA's continuous battle for success is aptly illustrated by this circumstance. We urgently need more funding and public awareness. However, they react with distrust and intrigue when they receive exactly what they have been requesting. When someone brings you a 5-star meal, it's like whining about being hungry and then doubting the food's quality. When excellence leads to drug testing rather than enjoyment, the WNBA somehow managed to turn the joyous return of its best players into a PR disaster. You are aware that the league's leadership has significant issues. What do you think about the entire situation? Feel free to share your opinions here. If you believe the league should apologize to Clark, please click like and subscribe for more self-written sports drama.